Since the pandemic, the popularity of anime has exploded like a hydrogen bomb all over the world. Anime is currently a $25 billion industry, from TV airings to movie tickets, down to the obvious cash cow, merch. Even I have spent my fair share of money on shirts and figures that fulfill my desire to have more of the series that I love. But on this quest, I have stumbled upon some real stinkers when it comes to merch. And that's why today we have to determine which anime has, without a doubt, the stinkiest, most foul products available. I know your mind is already going to My Hero Academia, but I promise you that is not the case, and you will be as surprised as I was. Let's see which anime has the worst merch. Okay, for some basic context before we start, any clothing business can get a license to make a collection for a certain anime, like they do at Hot Topic, Old Navy, Walmart, the list just goes on and on. But for the sake of fairness to all participants, I'm just going to be ranking the merch available on the Crunchyroll store. Today's contestants are Dragon Ball, Jujutsu Kaisen, Spy X Family, Berserk, Naruto, One Piece, My Hero Academia, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, Fullmetal Alchemist, and Demon Slayer. And I really hope that Demon Slayer cooked with their merch, and that way I'll beat the hater allegations that I got in the last one. Let's make our tier list. Alright, for this first tier, we have the absolute peak of merch, the stuff you would wear to do some aura farm. After that, we're gonna have Low-Key Fire, Mid-Piece, Skill Issue, and finally we're gonna have the Stank tier, which is where the winner, or I guess the biggest loser for today, will be. Last but not least, I wanted to say that I will be ranking these shows mostly based on their clothes instead of their figures or other accessories, because I think they all have a pretty consistent level of quality on that department. So without further ado, please like the video and subscribe to keep the channel growing, and let's begin this list with the only anime that I have not seen, Spy X Family. Unfortunately, Crunchyroll only has 2 pieces of merch for this anime. We have this Your Forget t-shirt that isn't terrible, but it would turn a guy into an absolute gooner. And then we have this Crime Against Humanity. I really don't want to be overly negative about this hat because this is someone else's work, but it really looks like it came right out of a sweatshop when it comes to quality and design. Again, I have not seen Spy X Family, so I cannot make a lot of comments on the design choices. I don't know what these peanuts mean. But I hate that I'm getting charged $26.95 for what is basically a TikTok shop item. For the lack of content and for the complete abomination that is that hat, I'm going to place Spy X Family on the stank tier, with the possibility of moving it later. Let's continue with the edgelords of this list, Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, Jujutsu Kaisen has a really cool, like, new age emo vibe to it, so I think they have a lot of stuff that they can cook up some really cool merch with. Right off the bat, we got this Sukuna hat, which is honestly really tough. I really like when anime merch is a little bit more understated and they use designs from the anime for the merch instead of just using PNGs and making graphic t-shirts. And this hat is just like the perfect example of that. Then we have our fair share of graphic hoodies and shirts that I think we're gonna see for all of these shows. We have a pretty sick collab with Under Armour that I would wear if I worked out. And then we have this varsity jacket, which is $250. The jacket itself isn't bad. From the pictures, I think it looks pretty high quality and the design is pretty understated. But honestly, I don't like varsity jackets, and I think $250 is way too much cheese for a Jujutsu Kaisen jacket. So considering that this merch in its majority is really good, but not amazing, I'm just going to place JJK on the Low-Key Fire tier for now. The next anime I haven't seen, but I have read the manga, which is Berserk. Berserk! We all know the Berserk stereotype, buff guy, sacrifice brand tattoo, but if you ask him about Berserk, he hasn't really read it or watched it yet.
Berserk? Oh, my tattoo? No, I haven't really, watched it for real. I found it on TikTok, it's really cool, but I mean, I could bet you 200.
Hopefully that demographic isn't represented here because I think they have done some irreparable damage for the public image of Berserk, but we'll see.
Oh, shit.
As expected, we do have the ideal pump cover hoodies and shirts of all time, but I'm not a hating and I can admit that this is really tough. This Berserk logo polar fleece for $94.99 might be a little bit too much for my taste. And I think the rest of the merch is a little overpriced, but I am just gonna go ahead and place Berserk at the aura farming tier because that's what you would wear these clothes to do. Aura farming. Next up, we have some more peak fiction, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Now, Jojo's is an anime that concerns me a little bit because if you have seen Jojo's, you know that it's a very fashion-centered anime, but none of the clothes in Jojo's would translate to clothes in real life. Period. Ooh! This Jolene sweater is fire, bro. This Jolene sweater is gorgeous. I feel like some of you guys are not gonna love it as much because there's a lot of Part 6 haters out there, but this is everything that I want out of my anime merch. It's understated, clean, cool. They use the little Jolene butterfly as a very neat design. Maybe the back is not my favorite, but I would really get this for myself. But everything that rises must fall because now we have this abomination that is this Mista sweater.
Nah, bro, what the hell?
This is exactly what I was talking about earlier because I think Mista's design would never work for a real life piece of clothing. And I think this girl thinks the exact same thing.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Besides that, we have some pretty inoffensive graphic shirts, and then we have these Giorno and Bucciarati beanies that I feel like I would find at the back of a hot top. What even is the sweater attempting to do? They really dropped the ball on this one. Honestly, I don't even know what this sweater is attempting to do. It's labeled Giorno Giovanna Holiday Sweater for $32.97. It's just foul. They had me on the first half, not gonna lie, but the more I browsed, the more Jojo's lost me. And they showed us that they can cook with that Jolene sweater. So that means that the rest of really foul clothing is just a matter of skill issue. And now it's finally time for me to show you this very pleasant surprise that is My Hero Academia. Look at these beauties. Who knew My Hero Academia had it like this? NBA jackets with My Hero Academia designs and embroidered patches on the back. I'm not a My Hero Academia fan, but I know for a fact that if my favorite anime had merch like this, I would be broke right now. After that insane start for My Hero Academia, we have some staple graphic t-shirts, and then we have some Funko Pop merch, because at the end of the day, it is My Hero Academia we are talking about. And then we finish our run with this basketball jersey that has the villains of the show on one side and the League of Villains on its back. I don't know if I'm more against this shirt or the kind of person that would wear this, but objectively it's not as bad as stuff that we have already seen. So for that insane NBA collection and the other stuff that wasn't in my personal delight, I'm just going to place MHA at Loki Fire below JJK. Now let's try to continue our good streak with Demon Slayer. I have a pretty negative preconception of Demon Slayer merch because I think it's just people doing soft cosplay of Tanjiro in the middle of the day, but I am very open to my mind being changed. So let's see what they got. They cooked. Demon Slayer has cooked. We got these 3 really cool shirts for the upper moons, and they have special designs for each of the characters, especially the one with the 6 eyes. I don't know his name, but this purple shirt is fire. And again, this is in a very similar style of design to that Jolene sweater, so I do love these shirts. Sadly, within the same collection, we have this very peculiar Nezuko jacket. I'm not gonna hate on it too much because again, this is someone else's work, but I'm just gonna leave it at this is not something that I would wear ever. And the same goes for the matching hat, which came out of the same place that the Spy X Family one came out from. With these 2 contrasting items and the graphic tees and everything, I am reminded of what we saw for Jojo's. So I'm going to place Demon Slayer at the skill issue tier, underneath Jojo's because I just like that show better. But just so you know that I am not biased, let's take a look at one of my favorite anime of all time, One Piece. Before we get into whatever Crunchyroll has for One Piece, I will say that 90% of the times, official One Piece merch reeks of booty cheeks. I love One Piece and its aesthetic, but when it comes to clothes, they always pick the same PNGs from Fishman Island and add the name of the character next to it and call it a day. I'm currently wearing this Shanks shirt from Uniqlo, which I really love, but even Uniqlo drops the ball a lot with One Piece. This stinks. Look at this shirt. I hate to see this. I hate to see the same ugly PNGs. They add the name, they add One Piece really big, and they think that's okay. They think it's okay to be super over the top and make everyone know that this person is a One Piece fan no matter what. That's not right. This Zoro hoodie is the perfect example of everything that is wrong with One Piece merch. It's just PNGs and names. Roronoa Zoro in English and in Japanese, Pirate Hunter in a really ugly font and a lot of text, because they gotta let everyone know that whoever is wearing this hoodie is a One Piece fan. And I just think that's not right. And they're also not cheap at all, which just puts me off even more. Even the ones that look a little bit more creative, like this one, are just so over the top. Like, oh, this is One Piece. I like One Piece.
Can we get much higher?
And I feel like they're committing every other single sin that I could see in any other anime. Holiday sweaters, varsity jacket, and this chopper cardigan that makes me feel sweaty just from looking at it. And it's also $180. So yeah, this makes me sad, but I was also expecting it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put One Piece at the stink tier. Hopefully some other anime will come and save One Piece, but for now, One Piece is taking the biggest L of the night. Okay, we have reached our final 3 anime, and now we have Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is an anime for unks, and there's nothing wrong with that because Crunchyroll understands this. We got cargo shorts, Hawaiian shirts, crossbody bags, and sick-ass hats. You can be dripped out head to toe in Dragon Ball merch and still look sick as hell. For the love of God, look at this white shirt. You're telling me this shirt, the shorts, and the hat don't make a fire fit? You're crazy. Of course, they got a couple stinkers and their mandatory graphic tees, but overall, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is aura farming. For that reason, I'm going to place it right next to Berserk at the very top of this list, and this means that there's only 2 more chances for One Piece to get saved. Our second to last anime is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and without having seen any of their merch yet, I can already tell you that they're going to cook, because that is what Fullmetal Alchemist does. But this means that the fate of One Piece is now depending on how badly does the Naruto merch stink.
Let's go.
Holy fuck. It's not even a surprise at this point that they cooked. Again, like always. This red hoodie, a work of art. This jacket, even if I wouldn't wear it myself, I think it's lovely. Not everything is insane though. This cardigan is not convincing me that much, especially in how it fits the model. But overall, they got us again. Fullmetal Alchemist is going to dethrone Berserk at the aura farming tier because I think more effort is put into their clothes. And I'm going to put Berserk at Loki Fire, and I'm going to take My Hero Academia down to mid-piece because of that Funko Pop t-shirt that is still rubbing me off in the wrong way. And we also have these shorts for Fullmetal Alchemist, so you could make the same argument that I did for Dragon Ball. So Dragon Ball and Fullmetal Alchemist are going to be the biggest winners for today. But we have yet to determine the biggest loser. So now it is time to finish this tier list with Naruto. I'll tell you right now, before actually looking at the merch, I am feeling optimistic, honestly, because I have seen some nasty ass stinkers when it comes to Naruto merch. They mostly commit the same sins as One Piece when it comes to PNGs and over-the-top merch. So we'll see. I think it's going to be close. Well, what do you know? First thing I see, ugly-ass holiday sweater and a varsity jacket. Hope is the last thing that a man will lose. Ain't no way. Never mind. They cooked. They cooked with this shirt, man. I love the Naruto toads. I love Gamabunta, Gamakichi, Gamatatsu, all of them. And this shirt is something that I would wear, and I would wear proudly. I don't know if One Piece has a shirt that goes this hard for $18.99, but let's keep trying to find something bad for Naruto. They're definitely losing some aura points with their tie-dye tees and these very questionable sweatpants. This jacket is really cool, but I think overall, Naruto has a lot of stinkers and a lot of really ugly holiday sweaters that I hate. Is it worse than One Piece? Sadly, being completely objective, I think their stuff is a lot better and a lot more creative than One Piece. So it is with a heavy heart that I have to say that today, One Piece is crowned as the anime with the worst merch on the Crunchyroll store. If you have a really cool or really bad piece of merch that you would like to share with me, please send me a picture on Instagram at Warland. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.